to Zoom In, Zoom Out, your global look at stories from Taiwan. I'm Jeremy Olivier. The social impact of conspiracy theories, the struggle of immigrants to reconcile their competing identities, and the sentimental longing for things lost to time. These are just a few of the themes explored in the many works of Shih-Hui Chen, an award-winning Taiwanese American composer based in Houston, Texas. By blending elements of Taiwanese indigenous and Nanguan music with Western contemporary composition, Shih-Hui's pieces serve as a bridge between her birthplace and her adoptive home. Shih-Hui is currently in Taiwan workshopping one of her newest pieces, titled 3 Pinches of Salt. Shih-Hui, we're very lucky to have you on the show today.
I am so honored to be on your show today.
So let's first zoom in. What is the story that you're trying to tell with 3 Pinches of Salt?
My previous 2 works, it's about identity, and then another one's about preservation of the environment and language and culture. And it's somehow really heavy, and I feel like I want something fun about food, right? And so this is about preservation of food. This I developed with the director and the creative team in Taiwan. We gradually, it's about human contact connections. In this story, there's a son and mother. Son tried to make the kimchi, the pickles, reproducing the mother's, the way she made it. So there's death in life, and then how we pickle food because we wanted to preserve it, and then we bring something decay to life and nutrient our body. As I beginning to work on this theme, I was very surprised. I don't know why was I surprised that kimchi is universal, and wine is universal, and this is back to the idea about the of identity, that we are all the same. You know, we should not thinking about it's your culture, your food, your pickle, or my pickle. And we human beings in different culture has an ancient way of preserving food, and we could work together. So back to my very heavy topic, and before that, about identity, is my opera is about bringing people together rather than dividing people.
Wonderful. You know, of course, as you've been saying, there's this strong food element in this piece. And I think in one iteration there was a food tasting, which is not something you'd normally see in a classical music concert. So what was your motivation for incorporating
Well,
that?
actually we do, right? There's always reception. There's always reception after concert, right? But it's like separate, you know, there's concert, there's a reception, they're 2 separate things. What would happen if we bring them together, right? And then, of course, we want to bring the preservative food, the kimchi, this pickle thing, and then make people aware the wine you're tasting and the pickle you're eating or is in the food, it's universal, it's ancient and old, and it's all cultural, right? And as I discovered these interesting facts in our different culture and life, I hope that the audience can discover that as well.
So like many of your other works, this is essentially music theater. It has a very strong visual element. So why is it important for your audiences to see the messages and the stories in your pieces like this one, rather than just hear them?
Wow, we just went through a pandemic, right? We're not going back. I was in Zoom for 2.5 years, and I'm so used to this visual elements too. And I feel I still write abstract music. I just finished one, premiered in Chicago. But their storytelling has a lot to offer to connect to the audience. My music, I was told that it's avant-garde and new music, and it's hard to listen. But then if you have storytelling and to convey what you try to say, I think you can bring the audience into your life and vice versa. And so I think storytelling is a really good way of connecting with the audience.
And a question I want to ask right after that is, you know, as somebody who I was trained in classical music, I'm curious how you come up with your pieces. Do you hear the music first? Do you visualize it? How does it come to you?
If it's a piece of abstract music, I hear it, and that's first. I know the whole piece before I even put it down, because structure is so important. But with the storytelling pieces, you need to think about the concept first, right? I mean, what are you trying to tell? For example, this idea of a food preservation. it's not just eating food. Underneath is you want to tell people, hey, we are the same. German or Japanese or Taiwanese, we all have a similar kind of culture in preserving food. So let's work together. Our world is going crazy, divided and fighting and this and that. And as a musician, what can I do? I go demonstration, of course, but I think my forte is to use my music as a vehicle to tell the audience, tell the people, hey, have you thought about this? What do you think about this? And they might agree, they might disagree, but that's okay. I see that's a form of expression for myself. It's important to let people be aware of a musician can be also active and be part of the society.
Right, so the world's going crazy, and so you've come up with a number of pieces that are imbued with a social message. Another one that you debuted just recently is another music theater piece called Birds Are Real, which maybe sound familiar to some of our viewers. Can you tell us about that one?
The full title is actually called Birds Are Real, Ambushed from 10 Directions. If you know Chinese pipa piece, Ambushed from 10 Directions are a pipa piece depicting the war between two generals in Han Dynasty. Those days, weapon is sword and arrows, maybe. But nowadays, our weapon is not that at all. It's misinformation. We are bombarded by all this information. You don't even know it's real or not real. For example, there's a conspiracy in the United States they call birds aren't real. When I first heard that, I was like, wow, this is fascinating. We human beings are so far away from the nature that we actually believe that birds aren't real. I am sort of like satire and say I want them to know birds are real. So my music begins with the birds guiding tour, and then you walk into the stage, and then you have the birds call, and then the musicians, they were storytelling. We also invited Donghua Piying Jituan, the shadow puppets. From that, we make a visual. And I talked to the director and the visual artist that we need to use AI. Just right around that time, Sora became available, right? You don't even need to program anymore. You just say what you want to say, and then the Sora spit out this image. We did not use Sora because that's not yet available to most people, but other AI platform is available. So I think it's very fitting for us to use AI to collate these different images and different things. It's not real. When we premiered in Houston, just October, I think people were fascinated. It's just a way to express myself outside of just only abstract music and to have a broader base to reach to other disciplinary. And let's do things together and to help to shape a better world if we can.
So let's zoom out now and go back to the beginning. I want to talk about your journey to where you are now. What drew you to composition? How did you know you wanted to primarily be the one writing music rather than performing it?
Well, it's very easy. I don't want to practice.
You and me both.
I just found it fascinating. The creativity, the creation of new things that has never happened before. And I wish I would practice, but you only have 24 hours a day. Using music, creating something that's never done before, and to share with the world, that's fascinating for me. That's the reason why I became a composer.
Music composition has historically been kind of seen as a primarily Western or Eurocentric domain. So did you face any challenges, as an immigrant from Asia and bringing many of the region's traditions to your craft?
In the beginning, when I first went to the States, I did not write any of these Asian elements in there because I actually was a totally Western trained musician. When I was in Taiwan, I do not learn any of Asian Taiwanese music at all. And that's the education still to today. Not only in Taiwan, in China, in Japan, in Korea. If you study Western music, you study only Western music. So when I went to the States, I continued the path that if I'm coming here to study Western music, I want to write the best avant-garde music. And so I was rewarded by commissions and award, and that seems to be fine. But at some point, I found myself dissatisfied. I mean, who am I? This music has no ounce of blood of Asian, and you don't even know this person was born in Taiwan and has educated in Taiwan, lived in Taiwan for such a long time. So I make an effort to go back to study my heritage, and I actually applied Fulbright as 15 years ago already. Came back to Taiwan, I studied Nanguan, I played pipa and I played the sing, and then I also was affiliated with Academia Sinica, and I worked with Hu Tairi, a very famous anthropologist. Then after that, I just no turning back. Ever since that, my every project is always relating to the experience I had 15 years ago. I think when I was younger, I care more about people, this commission award or this Western audience. But at this point, I feel like I'm more interested in my expression. I want to offer the world my point of view, which is neither Chinese or neither Taiwanese nor United States. So neither East nor West, but it's both West and the East as well. So it's creating some kind of a language, new language that's uniquely that I feel comfortable. That's my own.
Now that you do kind of combine these two worlds inside of your pieces. So my curiosity is just, what differences have you observed between how audiences in the US and Taiwan receive works like Three Pinches of Salt?
My performance is mostly in the United States. I have not a lot of concerts here. I don't know, but I imagine that for Taiwan, when they talk about Three Pinches of Salt or these kind of something that they feel familiar, they probably feel like, oh, this is very close to me. But in the States, they might be looking in a different, it's a different way of looking at Asian, right? But the whole point is not dividing the audience in the United States and Taiwan, right? This is our human experience that we should be able to all feel, to understand about, for example, this mother's funeral. And then we all feel like when mother passed away, the son trying to replicate memory by making the pickle that she used to make. This is something universal. I'm also making a huge effort. I want something that could be cross-cultural, trans-cultural, rather than like, oh, is it this or that, right? And this is a world that we should be able to have empathy and sympathy and understanding of each other, rather than dividing. This part is Taiwan, this part is America. I think it'd be nicer when you don't know which one is going to what. And then we have similar experience among all of us, yeah.
Well, that was a really interesting conversation, Shih-Hui. Thank you so much for joining us on the show today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's fascinating because I usually use my music to tell people my thoughts, but today using the words and language to tell people what I thought, that's a wonderful opportunity. Thank you.
Well, I'm so glad we got to catch you while you're in Taiwan.
Yes, same here.
This has been Zoom In, Zoom Out. For more stories from TaiwanPlus, you can follow us on social media. I'm Jeremy Olivier. Take care and see you next time.